Escape to Victory, known simply as Victory in North America, is a 1981 film about Allied prisoners of war who are interned in a German prison camp during World War II who play an exhibition match of association football against a German team. The film was directed by John Huston and stars Michael Caine, Sylvester Stallone, Max von Sydow and Daniel Massey. The film received great attention upon its theatrical release, as it also starred professional footballers Bobby Moore, Osvaldo Ardiles, Kazimierz Deyna, Paul van Himst, Mike Summerbee, Hallvar Thoresen, Werner Roth and Pelé. Copyright. Numerous Ipswich Town players were also in the film, including John Wark, Russell Osman, Laurie Sivell, Robin Turner and Kevin O'Callaghan. Further Ipswich Town players stood in for actors in the football scenes, Kevin Beattie for Michael Caine, and Paul Cooper for Sylvester Stallone. The script was written by Yabo Yablonsky. The film was entered into the 12th Moscow International Film Festival. Plot: association football plays a central role of the film. A team of Allied prisoners of war, coached and led by English captain John Colby, a professional footballer for West Ham United before the war, agree to play an exhibition match against a German team, only to find themselves involved in a German propaganda stunt. Colby is the captain and essentially the manager of the team and thus chooses his squad of players. American POW Hatch is not initially chosen, but eventually nags the reluctant Colby into letting him on the team as the team's trainer. Hatch needs to be with the team to facilitate his upcoming escape attempt. Colby's superior officers repeatedly try to convince Colby to use the match as an opportunity for an escape attempt, but Colby consistently refuses, fearing that such an attempt will only result in getting his players killed. Meanwhile, Hatch has been planning his unrelated escape attempt, and Colby's superiors agree to help him, if he in return agrees to journey to Paris, make contact with the French resistance, and try to convince them to help the soccer team escape. Hatch succeeds in escaping the prison camp, traveling to Paris, and finding the resistance. At first, the resistance decides that the plan to help the football team escape is too risky. But once they realize the game will be at the Colombe Stadium, they plan the escape using a tunnel from the Paris sewer system to their showers in the players' changing room. They convince Hatch to let himself be recaptured, so he can pass information along back to the leading British officers at the prison camp. Hatch gets recaptured and is put in solitary confinement. Because he is in solitary confinement, the prisoners don't know whether an escape has been planned with the underground, so Colby tells the Germans that he needs Hatch on the team because Hatch is the backup goalkeeper and the starting goalkeeper has broken his arm. Colby actually has to break the existing goalkeeper's arm because the Germans want proof of his injury before they will agree to let Hatch onto the team. In the end, the POWs can leave the German camp only to play the match. They are to be imprisoned again following the match. The Resistance's tunnelers break through to the showers in the dressing room at halftime, but the rest of the team want to persuade him to carry on with the game, despite being behind 4-1 at halftime. Despite the match officials being heavily biased towards the Germans, and the German team causing several deliberate injuries to the Allied players, a draw is achieved after great performances from Luis Fernandez, Carlos Rey and Arthur Hayes. Hatch plays goalkeeper, and makes excellent saves, including one last save from a penalty kick as time expires to deny the Germans the win, drawing the game for a Euro 4. Before the penalty kick, the POWs had scored a goal which was disallowed by the referee for a dubious offside decision, making the score 5 a Euro 4, prompting the crowd to shout victoire. They managed to escape at the end of the game, amidst the confusion caused by the crowd storming the field after Hatch preserves the draw. Selected cast: Les Shannon, a former Burnley player, choreographed the actual game presented in the film. The movie also credits Pelé. Copyright as the designer of plays. World Cup winning goalkeeper Gordon Banks coached Sylvester Stallone. Stallone's character states that he is an enlisted member of the Canadian Army, and a maple leaf-shaped regimental badge can be seen on his beret throughout the film. The game was filmed in the Hidegkuti Nyanda Stadium in Budapest, Hungary. In the film, Pelé Copyright plays a character from Trinidad and Tobago rather than his real-life native land of Brazil. while Brazil joined the Allied cause and its soldiers fought against the Germans in the Italian theater, their operations started too late in the water for the presence of a Brazilian POW to be believable at the date of the movie's events. Basis of the story: the movie is based on the 1962 Hungarian film drama Car copyright T-Far copyright Lieder Pokolban, which was directed by Zolta N. Farbr and won the Critics' Award at the 1962 Boston Cinema Festival. The film was inspired by the now discredited story of the so-called death match in which FC Dynamo Kiev defeated German soldiers while Ukraine was occupied by German troops in World War II. According to myth, as a result of their victory, the Ukrainians were all shot. The true story is considerably more complex, as the team played a series of matches against German teams, emerging victorious in all of them, before any of them were sent to prison camps by the Gestapo. Only 4 players were documented as being killed by the Germans, and their deaths were long after the dates of the matches they had won. Actors and footballers: Escape to Victory featured a great many professional footballers as both the POW team and the German team. Many of the footballers come from the Ipswich Town squad, who were at the time one of the most successful teams in Europe. Despite not appearing on screen, English World Cup winning goalkeeper Gordon Banks and Alan Thatcher was closely involved in the film, working with Sylvester Stallone on his goalkeeping scenes. Sports Illustrated magazine said the game is marvelously photographed by Jerry Fisher, under second unit director Robert Rigger. Music: nearly all of the film's music score borrows heavily from the first and last movements of Dmitri Shostakovich's Leningrad Symphony, particularly the march theme of the first movement, which is almost quoted verbatim, a practice which the composer Bill Conti would later employ in The Right Stuff with Tchaikovsky's Violin Concerto. Shostakovich's Symphony No. 7 has always been associated with secondary meanings within the music aimed at the Stalinist regime's overwhelming repression of individualism and freedom of expression, but at the time of its composition during the war was said to represent the oppression of Nazism. At the end of the film, the last part of Shostakovich's Symphony No. 5 is also used to signify the triumphant conclusion of the story. However, while the music may fulfill the final moments of Escape to Victory's exultant ending explicitly, it is believed Shostakovich wrote the ending to his symphony to imply forced rejoicing under an authoritarian force. References. External links: Escape to Victory at the Internet Movie Database, Escape to Victory at AllMovie, Escape to Victory at Box Office Mojo, Escape to Victory at Rotten Tomatoes, Escape to Victory at the TCM Movie Database, Escape to Victory website, Escape to Victory, photos, The Game of Death. Australian National Centre for History Education, concerning the events this film was based on.